Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Today is December 9th. We are counting down until the last night of John Cena in WWE. John Cena is going to be wrestling Gunther on WWE's Saturday night's main event. Um, I can honestly tell you, my first thoughts of John Cena honestly were coming as I was like getting into like I was moving to California, and I just wasn't in touch with being a wrestling fan as much. John Cena debuted in 2002. 2002, I was going through a little bit of a transitional phase. I didn't have cable for a little bit. I was mostly just reading results. Internet video wasn't that big of a deal back in the day, but around that time. I mean, honestly, I remember like if you wanted to watch like a YouTube music video, and it wasn't even YouTube. I apologize. If you just wanted to watch a music video on the internet, you would have to like click the button, and normally it would be like an eternity, which was probably like a minute before the video started playing in like the lowest resolution of all time. So like there was like videos you could watch of wrestling, but just not as many. It just wasn't out there like when you went to like WWE.com or any other sites like that. So, when I first like started reading about John Cena in magazines, I kind of really didn't like understand it all that much. When the first time that I ever saw John Cena and I could tell that he was a big star was probably when he got drafted from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. And I knew because he was going to be moving over with the championship that it probably meant Batista was going to be moving to SmackDown. And I was like, wow, they're really putting this John Cena guy as the number one guy on the Monday Night Raw brand. That was like the first time that I ever really noticed it, like he was going through it. And I just started watching along the way. I got sucked up in like the internet fad of like not loving John Cena. But I know that the time it switched for me to like this guy is really good was WrestleMania 26 when I went and I saw him wrestle against Batista. And after that, there was no turning back. John Cena was my guy. He was in my pocket, and I was ready to ride. Now, honestly, right before I sat down and I clicked the button to start the live stream today, I saw a video from my buddy, Assault and Battery 777. I've talked about him many a times. The Redemption Tour is still going strong. As of right now, the average is probably about once a week. Ravi comes on, he makes a really quick video, and he made a video. John Cena versus Gunther sucks. I could not want to be in a verbal debate with this guy. I wish it was back in the day. Um, when we would get on Skype and I would talk to Ravi almost daily, because I ultimately feel, um, completely the opposite. I think that what's up, John? I see your question. I'm going to get to it in 1 second, and I'm going to totally contradict myself. So get ready to call me out, call me a liar, call me whatever it is. But I think John Cena versus Gunther is quite possibly one of the biggest matches that they could have in WWE. I'll tell you this much. I said I didn't want to talk about him on my channel, ever again, really. Um, but John Cena versus The Rock quite possibly is the biggest match that they honestly could do. Now, we haven't seen The Rock since the Netflix debut, and I think maybe the NXT that ran the next night in Los Angeles, when The Rock got booed, and we all know what happens when The Rock gets booed. You go back to the Royal Rumble that Roman Reigns won. The Rock gets really confused. Everything The Rock does in his life, whether if it's getting up and going to the gym, eating pancakes, what he posts on Instagram, what he does out there in the world, doing interviews, everything is strictly rehearsed. They know the way that it's going to pan out. He just wants to be universally loved, and he got booed. And I think that's when he hit the ejection seat of like, I don't know what's going on with these guys. I'm going to go away for a while. And when I come back, you know, they're going to love me again. And I honestly think that's the place that they were at. Now, there was a time when The Rock did an interview and he talked about John Cena's last match. And I actually thought there was a chance he was going to show up. And I've seen a lot of videos and I've read a lot of things. There's people who believe The Rock is going to be in attendance at John Cena's last match. I don't think there's going to be a chance. I don't think The Rock is going to let somebody come out there and be a bigger star than him. As of right now, he just got his Golden Globes nomination for The Smashing Machine. Honestly, was not the best movie of all time, but when I went and saw it in the theaters, I thought it was a really good movie. I thought that The Rock, as an actor, probably played the best role that I had ever seen him in. I do like seeing him in like the action movies where like he comes in there, swoops in and saves the day. But you could tell that he transformed himself. At times he didn't look like himself. He became the character. You really believed that he had, a drug problem that was really running his life. And I think that he really wants to win this award the same way that he would want to win a Slammy in WWE or be WWE champion. He wants that, on his Hall of Fame plaque one day when, he's finally getting the flowers he deserves as a good actor. I think The Rock is a great actor. Is Jumanji 3 going to break records and people think that, it deserves an Academy Award? No, but we're all going to go see it. Just like this Christmas, we're going to go see that Anaconda movie. That looks really, really good. But Rabbi, I honestly believe that John Cena versus Gunther is a great match. There is only one match that I would want to see more than John Cena versus Gunther at Saturday night's main event, and that's John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I think a WWE Championship match ultimately would have been the biggest test for John Cena, and I think that if they would have made it the match, John Cena versus Cody, one more for the road. Let's see how much we got in the tank. He could have gone with a storyline. It's not what he's been saying in the interviews, but let's see how much longer this can last. He doesn't have to win it, but if he came out and he said that if he won the championship, he would defend it until the day that he lost, then ultimately we know that he has to lose at the end of the day. And, we're not going to feel sad about John Cena losing a big match and some heel taking his championship. But when it comes to that, if John Cena wrestled against Cody Rhodes, John Cena would have to lose. I don't want to see John Cena lose this match. I don't want to see John Cena lose another match another day in my life. When I fire things up on the network, wherever it is going, in the upcoming year, I don't even want to watch an old match that John Cena loses. I just want to see Cena win because that's the way, honestly, I'm going to remember him for the rest of my life. Now, Rabbi, I will tell you there's things about this show that I don't like. Ultimately, WWE, what the story that I've heard is that John Cena was going to have his last match, and they ultimately wanted to have like a 2-hour memorial of John Cena. I don't know if they were going to put him in the Hall of Fame, at this show, but I think they wanted to show great moments. They wanted to show wrestlers talking about John Cena. Ultimately, I think that would have been a very boring show that wrestling fans would not have turned in on Peacock. You got to think PLEs are now located on ESPN. These Saturday night's main events live on Peacock. Most people who are going to watch Saturday night's main event that are WWE fans are going to treat Peacock like it's a pay-per-view. They're not going to be firing it up and they're going to be watching The Office. They're not going to be watching, I don't even know anything that lives on Peacock ultimately. There was that really good show um with the girl that was on Orange is the New Black. She's not even a cop. She just knows when people are lying. That was a really good show. There was 2 seasons of that. It got a little weird at the end. It ultimately kind of turned like they were making movies instead of TV shows. But like people are going to buy Peacock to watch these Saturday night's main events. Now, if you're subscribing for this because you haven't had it since the ESPN deal, remember to keep it for January. Don't turn it off until after the January Saturday night's main event. So you might as well keep it through the Royal Rumble. But after that, it's only going to be quarterly, where we only have to, subscribe to Peacock 4 months of the year, save a little bit of money. If you're not going to watch anything else on the streaming thing, you don't need to have 1,000 different streaming things that you don't even remember which ones you have. Just remember that when these are on, you can go see them. But I don't really know how it came to be. It sounds like WWE came to John and asked, like, what do you want this show to be like? Do you want us to like let you be the booker and like you book your favorite wrestlers in matches? And he just said he wanted to put over the stars of tomorrow. He wanted to show off the stars of NXT. Now, as a person like me, I've sort of got my schedule made out and I watch Raw. I watch the PLEs. Every once in a while, I'll watch a SmackDown. But when it comes to other things, like I'm watching basketball, I'm watching football. I watch Survivor. A part of my schedule, NXT, not even the NXT pay-per-views that used to be NXT takeovers. It's just not in my schedule. I can't even lie to you and tell you that I watch, highlights. I kind of just hear what people are talking about when I log on to Twitter and I'm like going through what WWE tweeted about on Tuesday. Maybe I'll catch something, but it's not like I'm watching all of the clips. I know the names because of like the names that people talk about that are out there. But this show to me, 3 of the 4 matches, I'll tell you the truth. 2 of them, I don't even know what's going on. That's the God's honest truth. Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi. I know that's going to be a good match. Cody's not going to have a bad match against anybody. You can let Cody Rhodes go out there and wrestle against Tozawa. You can have him, wrestle against Otis. And I think it's going to be a watchable match that's going to be there. So I know that match is going to be good. But the NXT stuff for me just kind of, it just gives me a weird taste in my mouth about that. This is supposed to be Saturday night's main event. It ultimately makes me wonder if Peacock and WWE aren't seeing eye to eye with the PLEs. I remember when Saturday night's main event came back, and that was a really, really big deal. I want to say it was roughly 2006, 2007. It was right before WrestleMania. We had Shane McMahon wrestle a ladder match against Shawn Michaels. We had I remember it was a 2-on-3 because there was a triple threat going up against just a regular match in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship matches, and they just put them all together as a Raw versus SmackDown ordeal. So maybe it was like John Cena, Edge, and Big Show against Triple H and Orton. I think that maybe that was the match, but before long, Saturday night's main event just wasn't working, and it was kind of getting publicity that it was like the worst rated specials in prime time that there's ever been. And that's bad news for the world of professional wrestling. And they had already been paid, so they had to keep living these on. And it wasn't like they wanted to keep trying to have good shows. They just put on hour specials, and it ended up being like the guys from ECW wrestling on Saturday night's main event. as a way just like to get through it. So I hope that's really not where they're going. I've never seen numbers. I've never seen a story. If NBC is excited, there was the story that said like this was like NBC's way of keeping the Peacock subscribers after losing the deal to ESPN. If they wanted to keep us, they should have just paid the money and just kept it on Peacock. There's a lot of people that are really upset with the ESPN, PLEs. But I'll tell you the truth. Like I'm pissed that the network ended because I always just liked WWE Network, even though Peacock was kind of the same, and you got more for your buck. And it honestly, I think it costs less in the long run when it first came out. It was like we were used to paying the $9.99, and then Peacock was only $5 when it first came out for a long time. But hey, it is what it is. This show, I'm sure it's going to be good. The Saturday night's main events, it ultimately feels like it was like a lot of commercials last time. So I'm hoping they find a median with all that. But I think this show is going to be really, really good. I'm just really scared about these NXT matches that I don't really know anything about.